Welcome back. King James Bible University, KJBU, is a place of learning dedicated solely to what thus saith the Lord JEHOVAH. We stand alone and teach freely, without monetization, known elsewhere as tithes and offerings or any other name given. KJBU stands exclusively on the 1611 King James Bible with the Apocrypha, the 14 plus books removed from between Malachi and Matthew in the 66 book editions. All instruction by KJBU teachers are grounded strictly in the full 81 plus book 1611 King James Version with the Apocrypha, rightly dividing the word of truth without addition, subtraction, or outside influence. And with that, diving back in, section 3, seeing what else there is to the fire, aside from lust, envy, slothfulness, and pride. They're not individually separated, but all working together. Alright, we got a lot to go through, so let's continue the march. So, picking back up, instead of a no, the attempt to friend zone the male or female and use them for whatever they can, i.e., or expressly, endless emotional dumping, and never applying the corrective action. Emotional manipulation, many times, is what that is. Also using sometimes for sex, food, and as a personal ATM. I've seen it both ways with multiple people at the same time. It's why many prefer text. If you can't help peeping in the door, try the spirit for the true substance of Jehovah. Look for the fruit, not the leaves. Otherwise, skip, you're done. Move forward. Looking closer at this, at what gets served by engaging with fig leaves or naked trees, it's serving greed and gluttony. Because as we can see, there's that greed tying to the lust. And of course, the fornication and whoredom comes with it, all centering around concupiscence. Yeah? That greed always wanting more than necessary. And the gluttony, yeah. Nothing is ever satisfying enough for the appetite they have, regardless of the volume, showing the attributes of a waster. No self control. This is idle behavior, following the belly for carnal desires, things to support a carnal life, despite who's being used, despite who's suffering in the process. Again, that greed, that appetite to fill an emptiness. These individuals keep others in a zone of comfort based around a false belief that the victim believes will one day be a reality. But it's nothing more than a mirage, a lure used to lull victims into submission for personal gain. And the blinded victims at the expense, unable or unwilling to see through their own lust, too fixed on fleshly beauty to see the deceitful tactics of the greedy merchant. Let's get here real quick. That beauty, that charm, yeah, to see through that way. And that merchant, that trader, yeah. And I'm just gonna run this precept and Gonna get it rolling. Let's get here. Proverbs 31:24. She maketh fine linen, those choice coverings, and selleth it. Huh. Just as these whorehouses in every city they call a church building, trade deception for profit, these people exchange a fabricated presence of unity and love, purposed to claim your money, body, and resources without ever genuinely committing truthfully. The houses attempt to cover shame with leaves. The people perpetuate the shame because they find it appeasing across generations. 1 Corinthians 6:13 through 11. And meats for the belly, food for the desire, and the belly for meats, and the desire for dainties. Clarifying, but God shall destroy both it and them. Complete thought. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord. Complete thought. And the Lord for the body. Verse 11. And such were some of you. I was there. Clarifying, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, separated, but ye are justified in the name, way of the Lord Jesus, and by the Spirit of our God. Verse 12. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient, needful. Clarifying. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. This is being the leaf and moving according to the wind. This is the mind state to maintain upon recognition of a fleshly desire. Romans 7:11 and 15. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me. Verse 15. For that which I do, I allow not. Clarifying. For that I would, that I do not. Complete thought. But what I hate, that I do. I've been victim to both before. Blind, naive, used, lied to, and spit out. That's my experience, personally. Saw the error, but I allowed flesh to run as I had no light. Moving forward, deliberately, without any form of anger, instead, for reasons of fundamental function. Nevermore. Deuteronomy 23:17, just as a reminder, and why it stuck to me. There shall be no whore. And this transcends. There shall be no whore of the daughters, the faithful followers, but that whore, no prostitute. Let's get to it. No unfaithfulness, no fornicator. And as we know, there's more than one way, physically and spiritually. These are the heads that branch into a multitude of ways, avenues, all based off of our lust, our concupiscent desires. And we quit ad-libbing. Proverbs 31:30. Favor is deceitful. Oh, my bad. Man, man, come on. What's happening now? So that favor, it is deceitful. Let's get it up. Time to that beauty is deceitful. That charm, deceitful. And beauty, vain. Sincerely vain. Clarifying. But a woman spirit that feared desired the Lord, she shall be praised. Ezekiel 2. Yeah. Ezekiel 2. Ezekiel 2 and 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel. Here we go. To a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. Yeah. From here, Ezekiel 12 and 2. Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, nation, which have eyes to see and see not. Complete thought. They have ears to hear and hear not. Clarifying, for they are a rebellious house. Senses dulled. Avoid self-made idols against the way of God, whose actions rot favorable words faster than ripe avocados exposed to air. Proverbs 5 and 3. For the lips of a strange woman, God, Spirit, drop as an honeycomb. That desire, that heart's desire, and her mouth, that speech, is smoother than oil. Mm, yeah. From here, uh, Proverbs 16:24-25. And that oil, pleasant words are as comparing and honeycomb. That heart desire, that sweet soul desire, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. That structure for them, that integrity, that kinsmanship, that power. And that's where it comes from. Verse 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Thereby, among them are the ways of death. These pleasant words of these women spirits ain't nothing new. This too has also been passed down. Genesis 2:23. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." Clarifying, she shall be called woman, a guide, a spirit, because she was taken out of man. And I said it like that because there's a song that a pure feminist song. Just, and that spirit which bear the fruit of pride in the bunch, because she was taken out of man. Mhm. Okay. Many relish and sincerely savor carnality, using it to belittle to feel superior, deceiving, then rinse and repeat with the next. Ephesians 5:29. For no man, male or female, ever yet hated his own flesh. Emphasis, flesh, complete thought, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, that flesh, even as comparing the Lord, the church. Yeah. Look for the fruit behind the leaves and not the leaves only, because this is putting emphasis on they nourishing the flesh, that soul desire, that carnal desire. That's what's being nourished, despite who is being hurt or suffering in the process. Hosea 4:12. Hosea 4:12 on the left, Sirach 23:23 top right. Hosea, my people ask counsel at their stocks, and their stocks staff declareth unto them, clarifying, for the spirit of whoredoms hath caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring under their God. Sirach 23:23. For first, she hath disobeyed the law of the Most High, complete thought, and secondly, she hath trespassed against her own husband, Yahweh, and thirdly, she hath played the whore in adultery and brought children, works by another man, from Adam till today. And definitely not going to make it through all this. But these whoredoms, as we are marching down, don't be fooled. Look for the fruit, what's coming from within that soul. Colossians 2:18-19. On the left, Colossians 2:18-19. Let no man, male or female, beguile, fool, deceive you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels, messengers, that body, that vessel, intruding into those things which he, Adam, male or female, hath not seen, observed, mm, observed, understood in time past, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. 19. And not holding the head, the authority, the crown, from which all the body by joints and bands having nourishment ministered, and knit together, increaseth with the increase of God. This applies to both situations, 1 and 2. Persons collecting members as a resource and not after sincere connection are not holding to God. They are not observing the way of Jehovah, as few are. This, these are the children of the many with no control over the flesh and are dead in desire. 1 Timothy 5:6. Top right. But she that liveth in pleasure, satisfying that flesh, is dead while she liveth. And that she is Eve, our own flesh, our own spirit, the mother of all living. Yeah, coming from the first Adam. There we go. Our spirit. Deuteronomy 12:30. On the left, take heed, caution to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them. After that, they be destroyed from before thee. When they gone, don't go chase them. Don't initiate. Let it ride. They got it. Full thought. And that thou inquire, ask, seek out, not after their idols, little g, God's idols, saying, how did these nations serve their gods, idols? Question, even so will I do. Don't do it. Don't do it. 31, going down to 32. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. Clarifying, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods, little g, idols, complete thought. For even their sons and their daughters have they burnt in the fire to their gods that desire, to their idols. 32. What things soever I command, you observe to do it. Clarifying, thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. What's said is what should be done. And this is pertaining to God. What's said is what should be done, not adding or removing. Top right, 1 John 4:1. Beloved, believe not every spirit. I don't believe everybody. Continuing, but try the spirits, whether they are of God. Clarifying, because many false prophets, mouthpieces, are gone out into the world. They're going to tell you anything. And I mean anything. From here, Proverbs 11. Because again, they want to satisfy their flesh. So they're going to tell you whatever they want, especially if they know they don't need you, because replaceable, expendable. Proverbs 11:17. Starting here. Gonna run this down a little bit. The merciful man, male or female, doeth good to his own soul. That goes both ways. Those that please their own flesh and those that please the soul. But he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. Those are the ones that are satisfying their flesh. And yeah. 18. It is a cause to examine ourselves. Well, coming from the needful, examine myself. And I ask, did you cause the situation of vexation, beginning with their addition to my life? Question you should ask yourself. Where did it begin? Verse 18. The wicked worketh a deceitful work, clarifying, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. Going back to questioning the source of the action taken, spoken or physical. Was it according to God or self? To determine if we're feeding the flesh or the spirit. 19. As righteousness tendeth to life, clarifying, so he that pursueth evil pursueth it to his own death. That's separation. Ah, dog it, I'm going all over the place. Question. What the purpose of engagement is? Needful, desire, boredom, and compare with both eyes to determine its foundational source. Verse 20. They that are of a froward heart are abomination to the Lord. Bottom right, crooked and perverse, corrupted, changing from the original agreement. Clarifying, but such as are upright, just, and their way are his delight, those following the Spirit. The point being made here comes from verse 1 of this chapter, referring to Proverbs. And it reads, a false balance is abomination to the Lord, clarifying, but a just weight is his delight. That balance. Ecclesiastes 6:9. Better is the sight of the eyes, the understandings, than the wondering of the desire. Clarifying, this is also vanity and vexation of the spirit. Indeed, it is. Proverbs 11:5. Proverbs 11:5. The righteousness of the perfect, the faithful, the whole, shall direct his way. Clarifying, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. From here, heading over to 1 Timothy 6:3-5. If, providing any man, male or female, teach, instruct otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, instructions, even the words, instructions pertaining to, of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine, those reports, those instructions, which is according to godliness, complete thought, he is proud. There's that pride, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, instructions, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, guessing. 5. Perverse disputings of men, of corrupt minds, crooked, perverse, wickedness, and destitute of the truth, supposing, guessing, that gain is godliness, clarifying, from such turn, withdraw thyself. Excuse me, from such withdraw thyself. Switching gears, still talking about this whore and her ways, all 7 of them. Gonna be looking at bearing teeth. So, beauty is her name. That beautiful way of bearing teeth of this whore. So, continuing to march down of the beautiful ways of whoredom. As stated, this section's going to be more of the things both observed, and personally experienced that should be avoided, focusing on the spiritual understanding of the phrase bearing teeth. So, the issue of bearing teeth compared to a dog of any variety of the kingdom, really, when provoked to any degree, positive or negative, the dog displays or bares the teeth to become visible to the target, right? Which is generally accompanied with an audible either growl for warning or playful panting sound in a playful atmosphere that's determined by the intensity level of the moment, But this lesson is not about the playful ladder. This lesson is about the formal. So let's get into it. Okay. So here we go. Left side, picking us up at Psalms 60 and 4. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. So this banner, comparing this banner of declaration on display, such as a flag, or take the KJBU announcement banner, to the oncomer, right? A clear stance can be discernible. These teeth that are on display is declaring, pronouncing the stance of the party displaying the air quote banner of opposition to anything else, which is their truth. That's why they're bearing those teeth. Whatever's oncoming, they're against it. However, for this dog, without the entire gathering of factual information, a warning or gesture of provoking is produced by the beast, the teeth being bad. So the next verses will give a mental expectation of said declared teeth. Looking at the spiritual dictionary here, these teeth, bottom right, they are displaying their anger, or rather, their hostility, right? Their reason for hostility. Just going to follow hostility here for a second. And yeah, okay. So they have a grudge against whatever is their target. They have this bitterness, right? And we're going to hang on to those as we push into this. So I'm going to be picking this up at Exodus 15, verses 9, then 16. So let's get over there. And bottom left, it reads their mentality. The enemy said, I will pursue. I will overtake. Here we go. I will divide the spoil. Complete thought. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. Complete thought. I will draw my sword. My hand, my strength, my power, authority shall destroy them. Jumping down to 16, continuing their inner thoughts here. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. Complete thought. You know what? We'll jump into portion B of this verse as well, because it just further uh, supports and backs up those inner thoughts of this dog bearing teeth. By the greatness of thine, my arm, strength, authority, they shall be as still as comparing a stone. Solid, solid as a rock. Cutting it right there. And this just came to mind. Let's get this up. So here's what came to mind. Top right, it's a rock. chapter 37, verse 14. Actually, let's start at 13 and 14. And let the counsel of thine own heart, inner part, faith and belief, stand. Clarifying, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. Double entendre right there, because here we go, 14. For a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. Okay, this phrase is more for the adults. Who's ever seen someone that says, "Hey, hold my beer. I got this. Watch this." Yeah, pumping oneself up, right? Continuing. Um, from here, that just came to mind. Gonna head on over to Lamentations 4 and 1, and slowly gonna go ahead and get into the main portion of this. And here we go. At the top left, Lamentations 4, 1. How is the gold, that substance, become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. This substance being the gold, the stones being the stumbling blocks pertaining to the sanctuary, the vessels. Understandably, this verse is expressing a lamenting emotion of frustration due to the act and state of a fallen nation, reduced away from the glory of the highest to the dust. This is also a fine question, and the answer is because of whoredom, stemming from concupiscent desire. Looking at another form of whoredom that spawns from within, because as just illustrated, it begins with the self-pumping from within the whore's mind. Jeremiah 3 and 9. Top right. And okay, let's get this out of the way. And it came to pass through the lightness, and that lightness being contrary of her whoredom, that she devoured the land and committed adultery with stones, stumbling blocks, and with stocks. Those are the people, not of God. Those children, those works. Yeah, yeah. Isaiah 65 and 2. Top right. I have spread out my hands, that guiding authority, all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good. It's not edifying, nor is it pleasant. After their own thoughts. Those hold my bill or hold my milk and cookies moments. All right. So, looking at these own thoughts, let's get into it. The meat and potatoes of it. Heading over to Matthew, starting at 20. All right. Top left side, Matthew 20 here. And gonna kick it off with 1 through 4. And here we go. For the kingdom of heaven is likened compared unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers, these workers, into his vineyard. Right? Verse 2. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. Right? Verse 3. And when he went out about the third hour, and saw others standing idle in the market, in the public, verse 4, and said unto them, complete thought, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, I will give you. And they went their way. So, from here, this also happened on the 6th, and the 9th, and the 11th hour also. Picking it back up at verse 8. Yeah, and gonna run to 13. May stop along the way. So, Matthew 28, here we go. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, right? Call the laborers and give them their hire, their reward. Begin from the last unto the first, from the 11th to the third hour, in that order. Verse 9. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, so the last ones to come, right? Just got there. They received every man a penny. Verse 10. Oh. But when the first came, right, they supposed, gonna back that bus back up in a minute, that they should have received more. Complete thought. So, backing this back up, they supposed, okay? So, the word suppose, so your opinion, their belief, yeah? So, to think and believe with confidence, but without confirmation. So, gonna go deeper on this. Gonna spend some time here for clarification. Picking us up at Acts 2 and 15. All right, so picking this back up. Bottom left, Acts 2 and 15. Looking at suppose. For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. Bearing in mind, these were hired at the third hour, and here they come at the 11th hour, end of the day, supposing that they should receive more, right? Their opinion, their personal belief. Now, heading over to Luke 13, the precept here, starting at verse 2. And Jesus answering said unto them, suppose, believe in your opinion, ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans? Different story there. However, because they suffered such things. So again, their opinion, a belief. Just looking at the function here. The answer for should this remain in the temple of God? Question. Next verse, Luke 13:3. I tell you, nay, but except, including, ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. So, guessing the answers along the way in life, supposing, believing the own opinion, that hold my beer moment, after the own thoughts, referring back to the top right. Believing the fleshly impulses of what I've created in my mind. I've been grinding for a long time and have cleaned a lot of ground. Or I gotta be getting broke off something bigger and better, right? Believing that opinion that was created in my mind or one's own mind with no factual information to support the thought. Jumping back into it, Matthew 20, picking it back up at 11. Which is that what it? Yeah, that's it. I think. Nope, that ain't it. Is this it? Nope, that ain't it either. Give me a moment now. Oh, wait, it's right here. Okay. So, picking this back up at 11. And they likewise received every man a penny. Now 11. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house. 12. Saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day? The initial servants are complaining about the time served compared to the newly hired servants, and still being considered equal to those that have labored, as they say, but 1 hour, per the complainers. Bearing teeth. That's it, right there. Bearing teeth, in a nutshell. From here, Jude 1:16. There we go. Jude 1:16, top left. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts. Top right, after their own thoughts. Back to the top left, complete thought. And their mouth speaketh great swelling words. That's that pride, that pomp, having men's persons in admiration because of pertaining to advantage. Interesting. Sirach 29:5. Bottom left, Sirach 29:5. Till he hath received this complainer, this murmurer, he will kiss joined to a man's hand, guidance, complete thought, and for his neighbor's money, actually worth both ways. However, speaking on his wisdom, he will speak submissively, humble crouching, humble pride, clarifying, but when he should repay, he will prolong the time and return words of grief, complaining, and including complain of the time. And what they say, but 1 hour and has made them equal unto us for the same money, the same wisdom, the same penny. These two verses pulled together, Jude 1:16, Sirach 29:5, right? Because murmuring was an issue that was a part of my life for a large portion of my life. Didn't know better. Looking at murmuring, right? So, bottom right, murmuring, complain, whisper, discontented, here we go, protested. This protest, which is to be rebellious against, right? Back at that, the bearing teeth, that banner, being against whatever is not on the same side. So, jumping back into it, the parable, Matthew 20, because, yeah, they are against those, against the good man, because, yeah, he compared them as being equal, having the same wisdom, getting the same penny. So, Matthew 20:13, and the good man here responded, But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Clarifying, didst not thou agree with me for a penny? Question, why did he say that? What is the penny? Let's start with the first. Why did he say that? Running back up to verse 2. Matthew 20:2. And when he had agreed with the laborers, plural, all of them, for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. Interesting. Got that part covered. Now, what's that agreement? Let's check this out. That agreement, bottom right, tied to a shoe, a covenant, right? Gonna roll us around. Here we go. Back to covenant, that concord, right? What else is this tied to? I know, a bind, okay. There's the covenant, a bond, a promise, an oath. There it is, promise, right there. A vow, promise, and oath. And went the wrong way. Bond, we're gonna get there. There we go. Vow, promise. Here's what I wanted to get to. This precept right here. Numbers 32. Cause running, let's get it. Numbers 30 and 2. Dog it. So, bottom right, we got Numbers 30 and 2. However, example of this vow, this promise, right? Bottom left, Genesis 28, verses 20, 21. And for Jacob, we know supplanter and Jacob and Dwight, vow to vow. Insert your name, saying, if providing God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread, knowledge, doctrines, reports, instructions to eat, chew, learn, and raiment, covering to put on, 21, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, shalom, tranquility, complete thought, then shall the Lord be my God. Okay, got that example. From there, bottom right, Numbers 32. If providing a man, male or female, vow a vow, promise a promise unto the Lord God, or swear an oath, promise, vow, make that covenant to bind his, that's Adam, male and female, soul with the bond, complete thought, he shall, mandatory, not break his word. His, Adam, male and female, he shall, mandatory, do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. Vow, a serious promise or pledge to God that must, mandatory, be kept. The penny is JEHOVAH's image, which is seen daily in not only words, but also obedience to the words of JEHOVAH, our God, bearing, enduring, carrying. Where is that? I'll put it on one of these things. Okay, here we go. Carrying his image in spirit and in truth. You know, how Jacob, the supplanter, went in with the vow, came out maintaining the vow. Example, promised God obedience, but obedience until submission was never showed up for many modern day. So went in half-hearted, came out not at all, according to the promise given, just lip service. Or the world's favorite item, divorce. Till death do us part. For the most frivolous reasons, snore or laugh in a strange way when the lust is gone. After all the sex has been had, the understanding sets in that living with that partner is a permanent life decision. You're done. Laugh weird, and that sex and lust is gone. All that flirtatious and whatnot is done. That, if possible, if it were possible, you're done as well with those of the world. Divorce and restart with the next lust of the eye. Pregnant, kids in the world, who cares? Lust says you're done here. Get that divorce without working out anything.
If that man taking care of you and treating you right, stop nagging him about small things that ain't gonna matter next week. That's how you lose good men.
I hear you, Miss Loretta.
No, don't just hear me. Listen. You got a blessing. Don't run off because you bored.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving forward. Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians 3:11. Bottom left. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly after their own thoughts, working not at all, because gave the vow, didn't keep the vow, but are busybodies. Let's run it. Being a busybody, a whorish spirit, fornicator. Back to Lamentations 4:9. Top left, understanding why he grieving, lamenting, frustrated. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. That appetite, lustful appetite, this greed, gluttonous appetite. For these pine, waste, pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Because these rot but 1 hour, and comparest thou us equal unto these, after agreeing for a penny a day? We coming with this complaint, murmuring against the good man of the house because of 1 hour? Just jumping back to Matthew 20, being compared equal, lusting to be above, greater, just having a whorish spirit, lust. Isaiah 4:1, one of the 7 women, these whores. Back to Lamentations 4:9. For the want of the fruits of the field, want all the works, don't want to work for it, not content. Question. Luke 20:24. Bottom left. And it reads, show me a penny, that image. Whose image and superscription hath it? Question. Really, that's the only portion I need. However, they answered and said, Caesar's. Right? Next verse. And he said, render therefore with that understanding unto Caesar flesh, this world, the things which be Caesar's, and unto God the things which be God's. The image of Caesar is that of lust, motivating greed to rebellion against God in a gluttonous manner of feministic characteristics, alpha male characteristics, full of pride, and deserting the way of JEHOVAH, but expecting to be exalted and worshipped by others based on personal feelings and thoughts, while having no self-control over the desire to fornicate, both ways spiritually and physically, following an idol and making ourselves an idol, and physically fornicating with self counts and others, definitely counts outside of marriage. Married, do you in that bedroom, do you? However, back to this, there shall be no whore, obeying slothful tendencies and remain stagnant in fleshly ways against God. These are the ways of a whore and sodomite that are not the daughters and sons of Israel within the covenant of God. Instead, glorifying ignorance in lewdness, idolatry, and corruption. Deuteronomy 23:17. Here we go. Bottom right. Deuteronomy 23:17. There shall be no whore of the daughters, the faithful followers of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons, the servants of Israel. The point of this whole section here, the mouth of this whore, Matthew 5:37. Just to bring it to a head of what to do. Let your communication be yea, yea, complete thought, nay, nay, clarifying for whatsoever is more than these cometh evil. And that communication, this gonna be the last little tidbit here. There we go. Conversation, communication, that behavior, that manner of life. Don't let it be of evil. So, question, are you, because I'm included as well, are you corrupting your vow with Jehovah, with the vile affections of the flesh, which includes complaining? And with that, thank you for your time. I hope someone was edified. Shalom.